Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I am the host of this series, Let Me Tell You More, and today I'm here to tell you more about Kamar. Kamar, take it away.
Hi, my name is Kamar Thomas. I am a Jamaican artist living in Canada. I'm a fine artist. I draw, I paint. I also wrote a book called The Artist's Creative Vision: How to Make Art That Makes Change and Makes a Living.
Let's get on into the interview. So you're from Jamaica?
Yeah, I'm from, just imagine what a city is, the opposite of that. Mountain, a hill on that mountain with a river between the flat area and the hill that I crossed to go to my house. And it's a big house on a hill that my whole family lived in. It was idyllic in the way that people portray people relaxing on the beach in Jamaica under coconut trees. That was my life for real.
Jamaica, right? Does it influence how you do your art, how you create it?
Yeah. It was so many people aren't aware of culture that they participate in the way that, if you speak Spanish, but you live in Spain, you don't speak Spanish, you just speak. It's when you leave Spain
Right.
that you speak Spanish, but in
Yeah,
Spain, you just talk. When if
right.
you're born in America, you don't speak with an American accent. That's just talking. Everyone
Yeah.
else has the accent. And you get the accent when you leave. When you go to Argentina, now you're an American with an American accent. And people in Argentina, they have questions. And you now have to, in some sense, represent Argentina. So in my work, it's after having left Jamaica and moving to the US, and first school, I couldn't stay permanently. I don't know if you've heard, US is not looking for more people. So the work that I make is really inspired by the differences between my identity in Jamaica and Black identity in America.
You said you are in Canada now, though. Why Canada?
Easier to live here. Took I spent close to a decade in the US, and I had an artist of extraordinary ability visa. You can renew it for you get it for 3 years, then you renew it yearly, and then you can emigrate, but you have to do the equivalent of win a Grammy in your field, or at the very least be nominated for it, whatever that is. If you're a singer, that's what it is. If you're a filmmaker, an Oscar nomination, or make the NBA if you're a sports star. So people like Drake and Justin Bieber, they get the O1 visa, or people with podcasts that have 400,000 listeners. It was in the realm of possibility to renew it for me to get another one. But
Uh,
then the pandemic happened and that paused all immigration. So
right.
now I have a choice to make. Do I send in my documents and just hope that when things restart, I'm not a federal criminal? Or do I just leave, cut my losses, and let it go? Which is what I did.
Did you go to school for art?
I did. I went to a university in Connecticut called Wesleyan University. It is a fine institution that I give full credit to. It's one of those places that the elite of society send their children. And I went there essentially blind, not knowing what it was, because this is the days before every college had an Instagram page that you can just go visit and see. So it's just paper application and looking at what they have. And I studied fine art studio as my major, and my professor there, her name is Tula Telfair. I give her the credit for teaching me, but I also give her the credit for wearing expensive dresses whenever she taught me, and driving a blue Audi and wearing great jewelry and just looking like a rich person, looking like money was no object. And I thought, this person is pretty much like I am. They're a person. And if it's possible for this person, surely something could be possible for me.
Okay, so when you go to school for art, do you feel like it helps you more when you are trying to have a career in art? Like, do they teach you about the business of being an artist as well?
In college, not well, in university, not quite. So, this kind of university, that's not the kind of school that it really is.
Mhm.
It's what is really emphasized there is the expectation of excellence as a prerequisite for everything else. And if people expect you to be excellent and they treat you like excellence should come from you, then when you don't know something, they're like, sure, you can look it up, you can find it, you can get the information you need rather than directly teaching you, because it is understood that if you aren't that good and you know about business, it's not going to help you because you're not that good. If your
Right.
coffee sucks, nobody's buying it, even if you're in the right area and
Mhm.
even if the shop is nice. So they focus on making you excellent. But yes, there were, of course, um, the discussion about money, sale prices, and I sold some paintings there, but it wasn't a class dedicated to that. It was
Right.
more so of, I'm sorry, you have a $200,000 car. How you get this? And they tell you,
Right.
this is how much a painting cost. I have this many exhibitions every year. These galleries, they're like the NFL or the NBA. They're looking for outliers, but once they have you, you get a show a year, and it'll sell each piece is $30,000. And if you put 20 in a show, you'll sell 9 or 10. That's 300 grand. That's 150 to you. And 50 Mr. Taxman has to eat. That's 100 grand. You can live on that. It
Right.
might take a while, but it's not made into a big deal,
Mhm.
knowing that the kinds of people who go there are going to find out the business and the information on their own. So they focus their time on the excellence of the craft.
Right. When did Kamar's like art journey start?
Now, there is when it started, but I will just tell you the story I tell myself and other
Right.
people because I don't know for sure. So there is a high school. I have a teacher. His name is Michael Lane, and his son is one of my best friends. And I go over to the house all the time. And he's an artist. He has a studio in the back. He was a sculptor. He's alive. He still is a sculptor. He makes his clay sculptures. He fires them in a kiln on his property. He goes to a market. He sells them. So art is like a regular job for a person that I grew up with. And years later, he becomes my art teacher. Then, so I'm exposed to it, but I'm also exposed to police and teacher and pastor and shopkeeper as jobs. It
Mhm.
was really in college and that professor and realizing I was doing physics at first and it was
Mhm.
incredibly difficult. Say 30 minutes to read a page of my physics textbook.
Mhm.
And I decided when I was not going to do that anymore, that if I applied this level of effort into anything else I was interested in, then it would probably work.
Mhm.
And I was wrong for about 10 years, and then I was right.
Can you remember like the first piece of artwork you ever made?
I ever made. That
Yes.
would be, I don't know about ever made. I have older siblings. I had an older sister. Again, she's alive. I have an older sister, and what she did when I was a child, I did. I'm a little brother. Where she went, I went. What she drew, I drew. And when she was taking art classes, she came home with, I think, a color wheel, and I wanted to paint the color wheel. I just couldn't mix it because I could remember red and yellow make green. So that was the first one. If I think as far back, I can remember kind of drawing.
Mhm.
But then I used to watch Pokemon. I used to watch Pokemon, and I knew all the songs, the beginning and the end, and I would draw them all the time in school with my friends. So I remember those. But the first one where I was like, "Oh, this might be something," was when I was in grade 9. I drew a self portrait, and I brought it to
Oh,
school unprompted. It wasn't for a class or anything. I just drew it, and people were like, "Oh, you drew this?" I said, yeah, I did.
is like art a big thing in Jamaica?
Uh, well, you have to tell me what you mean by a big thing. Do you mean like the way people treat, say, a sports star came in the room? Not that big. It's not, if uh, um, a rapper, it's not that big, but it also is, there's an art school there, and they turn out artists, and we have vibrant public sculptures around the country. We have music that requires an aesthetic, a look. So, in some sense, it is not individually very big, but paired with music and dance, it's a fairly, especially now, it's
Mm,
coming up where more places are commissioning murals and wanting to self-consciously make what their surroundings look like to attract more business or just to have it look better than what it
right.
was.
What's the first piece you ever sold of your work?
Glad you asked. This was in college. There was a glass area
Mm,
in front of where they served the food, where they made omelets. So
mm,
you have burner and you have pot on it, and they're making omelets in 3, 4 pots. And
mm,
they came to me and they said, "Hey, we heard you paint. Could you make something? We're gonna put the painting in front of this glass area." And they're like, "Well, how much do you think?" And I was like, you know, 700 wouldn't sound too bad. And they're like, "Okay." And they paid me $700.
How do you feel like when you get paid for your work, you know?
It's, art money feels different than regular money, because
It
regular
does.
money is on the spectrum of things in your life. On one side, you
Mm,
have complete pleasure, things that you do because they feel nice, and they always feel nice, and they're gonna feel nice. And on this side, you have complete work. You
yeah.
only do this because you're getting money
Mm,
and you need the money.
mm,
Art is way over on the pleasure side, and you happen to get money for it.
right.
So it feels like, on when I sell it, it feels very pleasurable.
Right.
But while I'm making it, it's work. While I'm making it, it's not even work, it's just a thing that I do. They're just tasks that need to be done that
Right.
I'm indifferent about. And I have to daily fight that urge to have it slip into the work
Hmm.
by presenting myself with bigger and bigger challenges. So I have to go make a 17-foot painting, because if I make something that's, 24 by 36, that's all work and not that much pleasure. It's all
Right.
just me doing tasks. So I have to make them bigger, and I have to push myself to push it more to the pleasurable side.
Right. Is this like what you saw for yourself when you were young? Or did you think you were going to be doing something else?
I, because of good parenting, knew I'd probably be fine no matter what I did,
Hmm.
but I did need to do something. So when I was young, I was one of those people that was good at too many things. I was in a singing group. I used to preach at church. I read a frightening amount. I don't really have very many C's on my transcript. I did well in school. I maybe have
Oh.
one or so. I did well in everything I did. So I was fairly confident. I'll probably be all right. So go ahead and flip a coin and just pick a thing. And whatever the thing is, take the next step. And that is actually literally what I did when deciding to pick art as my major and then deciding to go to graduate school. Is I just reach in the pocket for a coin, heads, I go to grad school, tails, I go get a job. Bam, it's heads. Let's start these applications. Because I figure I'm going to work really hard at either. So I'll probably be fine.
Tell me about these other things you did. You talking about you sang in a group and everything? Explain further.
Well, I was raised in the Seventh day Adventist church. That's basically Jewish, but not without the shared history of oppression. And it's basically, you don't work on one day and you go to church and think of spiritual things. And the way to be somewhat of a big deal in that church is you study and or you sing. So music is a big thing in that church. Everybody can sing. So like Prince, Seventh Day Adventist. Brian McKnight, Seventh Day Adventist. Like a lot of these
Oh.
early '90s singers. You look at what church they went to. It's one particular kind of church that emphasize intense musicality. So everybody in the church trying to sing. And my cousins are professional musicians now. They play piano and sing. One of them came third in the equivalent of American Idol. It's called Rising Stars in Jamaica. So
Ooh.
everybody sing in the family. And I wanted a high voice so bad, but the Lord blessed me with the baritone when I was about 14, and I completely lost my singing voice. But I was determined to get it back. I got it back at 32.
Well, God
It took a
bless you.
while. It took a while. But so there's that. And I knew I had this group and I wrote the songs and we got a manager and we were in rehearsal and the manager was like, okay, we're gonna set up this show and this other thing. And then I got into college and I came to college and that ended it. But what really ended it was he was setting up the shows and I realized that being a professional singer is a night job. You go to work at midnight. That's when you start your job is midnight till 2. And the people you're singing for, they're not there to see you. You're just some dude warming up for the people that they came to see for real. And I was like, and I have to sleep in like touring is how I'm in a different bed every night. I don't like any of this. The singing I like, the singing I like, the music I like, but I'm gonna travel and perform and promote, none of that. So that was out of the question. And the being good at school, again, older sister is there. She can answer the questions I have and bring some work to her. And I had the gift of an aunt, my dad's sister. She had, if I remember correctly, a master's in early childhood education in like 1993 when I was like 3 years old, when I was a child. And she taught me how to read very young, very early. So me and my sister had a blackboard in the house, just writing and making up stories and just talking. So we were just much more into books and reading and doing work. And then the church, you got to memorize some Bible verses and you got to say them out loud in front of the whole church. You can't embarrass the family not remembering this. So just that added up when you went to school, reading and remembering stuff. That's no big deal because I did this on Saturday under pressure. So doing this on Tuesday in front of my friends is not, that's not a problem.
Right. Okay, so if your life was a book, what would it be called?
It will be, it's a good question. It would be called, if I had to guess, let me think about my biography. It probably would be called Smart Enough to Try, Dumb Enough to Not Give Up.
Okay, what's your favorite piece that you've ever done of your own work?
I don't even think of them like that. Just kind of make them and then we break up. I make them. All right, what's the next five? Yeah, make them and all right, we had our time together. It was great. I got what I needed. I'm gonna try to give you to someone else for some money now. Yeah, I think the latest one that I'm working on, I have a big one in the studio. You can see it on my Instagram as one of the pinned pictures. It's a huge panorama with a face on the left and butterflies flying into water and a swan on the water. It's just a large painting that embodies the feelings, the emotion, and the circumstances around the long distance relationship I was in. That I married the lady in the picture, so it worked out.
What is your least favorite piece you've ever made?
Oh, I got rid of those. There's lots of paintings I did in university that I there are lots of trips to the dump to get rid of them. There was one piece we were supposed to paint. They gave us the black and white picture, and we were supposed to paint it in color, and it was a disaster. I got rid of that thing. I didn't even let it dry. I just got rid of that. So that was my least.
How does it still excite you when you can just paint whatever you want at the drop of a dime? Like, how do you keep it exciting for yourself?
Well, it sure looks like I can paint whatever I want at the drop of a dime, but that's not the case. There are always, oil painting is 600 years old, meaning for you to even be taken seriously as a painter, you essentially have to be world class. The same way, well, think about the NBA. It's 75, so it's not an old sport. But
Right.
for you to make it there, you have to be incredible, like beyond incredible. So much so that a lot of the people that are in the NBA don't even like basketball right now. So when you decide that it's your job, you just do it. You don't think through the passion of it. I want passion, I have a wife for that. If I want excitement, I'll go go spend all of my money and be terrified. But I don't really look to my career necessarily for excitement. I look to it more for purpose. I have something to say,
Mhm.
and this is the medium I have chosen to say it with. How do I need to get there? And so the thing that I have to say rarely matches my skills. So I either have to go learn some skills or change the thing. And this back and forth is a forever problem. It doesn't really go away. Well, maybe I'll wake up and go, I've said enough. Let me go relax somewhere. But that day is not today.
Okay, so you said you wrote a book. Talk a little bit about that because what did you say it was called?
The artist's creative vision, the artist's CV.
Okay, so go ahead, tell me about your book.
A CV is a curriculum vitae, is what people use to get a job. And the idea for the book is because art is a job where you can wake up on Tuesday at 9 and elect yourself an artist, this is the qualifications that you need to be able to do so in a way that makes you money. So rather than you can just decide tomorrow, yep, I'm an artist. And the book is, well, if you're going to do this, here is what you need to do. You need to go study some art history. You need to go figure out what you're interested in, and you need to look at your biography to see kind of what specifically about the art history and interests you care about. Mix that up, and that's going to be what I call your creative vision. And try and sell it to people. If it don't work, repeat step one. Go check back art history. Go look at what you're interested in and what in your biography is interesting. And you can just do this until you find a group of people that care about what you care about and that resonate with your biography, that are interested in what you're interested in, and can recognize from the skills you learn from art history what you are trying to say. And they're willing to reach into their pocket, peel out their Visa credit card, and type in the CRC code, their zip code, for you to mail it to them.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Hmm. That's an interesting one because I'm not one of those people that asks for advice. I'm more watch what people do and take it from their actions. I think, ah, I think this is a good one, and it's not what I asked for. It's more merely ship it. It was from a book I was reading. That means don't, when you have something difficult to do artistically, or perhaps it's a difficult conversation, remove the drama and the importance around it and just do the thing without it being any more emotionally charged than it needs to be. So my art career, I treat it like that. Just get up and go to the studio and look at the references you're going to paint today and just mix the paint you need and just start. Don't think of it as this grand objective that is connected to your life purpose while you're doing it, because
Right.
that'll almost always diminish your willpower to do it. Just merely do the next step, and all the little steps will add up. Oh, and the second piece of advice is you win in the details. Somebody said you win in the details, you win in the all those little things that people don't want to do. That's where you're going to make your money. And I think it's one of my professors in grad school that told me that. That was like, people, every time a new thing comes out,
Mm.
artists will run to it. Don't do that. Just learn to draw. And once you learn to draw, you can draw. People don't want to do that. And the easier the making of art becomes, the more money and success you'll have because nobody wants to do the hard thing. So do the hard thing, do the thing people are avoiding. Go read the difficult book, go find the obscure statistic, go learn the language you need to learn so you can read the original source, so you can have a deeper understanding, because your competitors aren't doing that. They are looking for a new shiny thing and they're running to it.
Okay, what's the worst piece of advice somebody's tried to give you?
Boy, there's been a lot. It's been a lot. There's been the career advice wasn't the worst. That's just people showing concern for me.
Mm.
It's always the finding people to buy my work advice. That's always pretty bad. So it's always, oh, well, somebody would, I remember somebody asked me, well, why don't you just try and have a show at like MoMA? It's like, you mean the Museum of Modern Art, New York? Say, yeah. I said, do you know anybody in the Museum of Modern Art? I can't just show up with my painting. But they, oh, and some of them are generally along the lines of getting another kind of work
Mhm.
that will make me some more money, but that they themselves would never do. So the person giving
Right.
me advice. So I'm always for, why don't you try this? It'll make some money. But then I go, oh, did you do that? They go, I would never. And I go, then what? Why don't you? Have you thought about being a police officer? I have. Would you be a police officer? Oh, never. Then why do you think that's good for me? How would you know? So it's around career advice. I typically I just don't take career advice. I nod and I smile and I go appreciate it, and then I carry along.
Where can the people find you if they want to buy your work, see what you're doing?
I have a website, kamarthomas.com. If you type Kamar Thomas into Google, I'll show up. You will be able to buy my book there, search my name on Amazon, and my Instagram page is at OHKAMAR. Somebody took my name years ago and I can't change it. And my Twitter handle is, I believe, the same thing, but I get into unnecessary and funny arguments with people on there. Funny to me. I don't know if it is to them, but all
Okay.
of this is available on my Instagram.
Okay. And then the last question is, what do you want the viewers to take away from this interview?
I think if I were giving advice, I would say the small things undertaken for 8 or 9 or 10 years are better than any single big thing that you're thinking of doing. So if you just paint for 30 minutes per day and you take the weekends off, that's still well over 200 days of painting. That's still over 100 hours of painting. If you even read 30 minutes and you're trying to do a podcast and you put 100 hours of prep into doing your podcast, it's going to be a better podcast than all of them that exist because no one's doing that. So
Right.
the small things added up are much more impactful than any singular big thing. So, persistence in the details is where you will win.
Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, obviously, comment down below who you would like to see me interview next. And I hope that watching this interview inspired the artist in you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and go create something.
Bye, guys.